This is The Countdown, discussing tomorrow's news today as our top guests tackle the issues that matter with a sharp take on every story.
And now, here is your host, Andrew Weeks.
A very good morning to you and welcome to another edition of The Countdown. My name is Andrew Weeks. We're coming to you live from Georgetown, Guyana. It is Sunday, the 20th of July, and we are almost through with the month of July. We're just close to Emancipation Day. We're also close to Elections Day. Okay, and so we want to welcome all of you. My co-host will be joining me very soon. I have behind the seat in the green room the Honorable Khamrajramjattan, and we also have Laura George, the advisor on Indigenous Peoples Affairs. And we have some very serious matters to discuss, some very serious matters to unpack. And so, Khamraj, I want to give you your introductory remarks as we start this morning program. Welcome to the program, Mr. Ramjattan. It's good to have you in the house, our founder and the former Minister of Home Affairs. Khamraj.
Thank you so much, Weeks. It's a joy to be here, Countdown. I think I was once or twice before in a program. And it is important that we do the countdown in the context of just about a month and a couple of weeks away from national and regional elections.
Yep.
It is important that we convey our remarks to the members of the electorate out there. This is reminiscent of my being a lawyer and addressing the jury as to why, either if I was prosecutor or defense counsel, why you should convict or acquit, depending on the status. Well, I'm opposition leader and I'm a member of the candidates list for the AFC, and I'll be giving the arguments as to why, indeed, we should have people voting for the AFC. But the other major point I want to make is that I am also going to argue why people should not vote for the PPP.
Yes.
It is fundamental that even those who might not want to vote for us must understand a reasoning that says voting for the PPP is going to bring further disaster and catastrophe at the political and economic fronts in Guyana. And so I have been at this thing for quite a while. As you know, I had indicated at our last national conference that I am going to kind of come off the stage. Nigel Hughes and his team, which includes me, of course, and I'll be there to help and give as much guidance as possible. But indeed, I really wanted to play a lesser role. But quite frankly, knowing how you stay and so many other people stay, Mr. Ramjattan, you got to come to this program. You bring out your experience and your knowledge and whatever.
Yes.
And so I'm doing that. And I'm very happy to be here, Andrew. And so we'll proceed with whatever questions that you want me to answer.
Good. Stand by. Laura George is also in the house. Laura, a very good morning to you. I know your weekend has been a very hectic one. There is a serious matter that we need to address because you're hearing something different from the police, something different from the government news agencies. The minister saying something. Tell us exactly what happened at that bar there in Soosdijk, Linden Highway there. What happened? What you heard, because you were on the ground, it was reported to you, you got the call, you raised the alarm. What happened?
Right. Thank you, Andrew. Good morning to our viewers. Yes. So last week on social media, I saw comments being made about a young woman being assaulted, calling out the other patrons that were there in a club. And I keep seeing it one after the other. So I followed up, I think Thursday evening with someone if they know what this is about. Because I'm concerned. I'm learning also that It's a young indigenous woman. By Friday morning, I received other calls is asking if I had seen the video. I still hadn't seen a video. And I eventually got one. I watched it. I watched in horror. I have seen other people say, both men and women say that they couldn't watch it out because how horrific it was. It is. I watch it out to make sure that I really am seeing what is happening, that I would be prepared to assist and support whoever this person might be. That I would also be able to recognize people, if I'm able to recognize persons in that bar, but also really to see if I can recognize or look in to see anyone to be held accountable. That was my whole purpose. It was horrific. It was beyond despicable. It was dehumanizing to the. It was despicable. It was like the most blatant assault in public, in front of everyone,
Yes.
and actually with the people applauding and taking videos of that act. It was downright disappointing that here are human beings. Here are Guyanese, just like you and I, and actually enjoying. Nobody seemed horrified, because if they were horrified, they would have made sure that somebody or something was done to intervene. Can you hear me? I'm getting an echo.
I'm hearing you.
Okay. Around the same time, while I was looking to see who these persons are, if I could get in touch with them, contact was also made with me to say that they were trying to make contact with me to see what intervention they could make. So bring it to meeting the family, meeting the girl in question. Because by that time, I am being told by the family that persons were already reaching out to them.
Yeah.
With what seemed to be financial offers to keep it quiet and to shut it down. So that's not in the press. But we were able to get information from the young lady and from the family as to what transpired leading up to that night. It was actually that, like any other time when they had been, I found out that the girl is a 20-year-old young mother. And that, like any other time, that, she was in the company of her aunts, and they had gone out about 7-something, and they were having a few beers. And I guess as people would step in and out, one aunt stepped out, and she said, according to the aunt, she was outside for some time because she met some people that she knows. She was in a conversation with them. And the other aunt also stepped out, leaving the young lady inside. And they said that they felt safe. They didn't know, because it's not that she was, like under the influence or anything like that, because they hadn't like consumed the amount to say that she would be
Intoxicated.
vulnerable
Yes.
so much there, because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have a crowd in there, because that's not the first time they had been at what is in the press now as Ragu's bar up in the Susdai Junction. So it wasn't the first time. There were no persons there. They could clearly recall, they were clear in naming persons who were there, persons that they had seen there, persons who are employed there, the owner of the bar, the DJ, and actually the 2 DJs that are also named in the press. These are persons that they clearly recall seeing there, in the night. The young lady says that I'm not sure how much information I'm supposed to divulge, because we have since made a report to the police. The police have since taken a statement, but she does recall someone coming from behind. She said she was shaking, dancing. And she says there was someone came from behind, kind of like started dancing with her and offered her a beer. She said she took the beer and she started dancing. They started dancing together. But she said in drinking the beer, maybe midway on the bottle, she said she realized that she was getting a feeling that she was beginning to feel weak. It's a feeling that she said she'd never felt before. So she said she moved away to go through the door to get out to her aunts, to see where they are, because she wasn't feeling well. And she said the guy pulled her back. And when the guy pulled her back, and she said when the guy pulled her back, she said the security guard who was right there saw all of that as well. She remembers that. She remembers up to the point where he pulled her back, and she said she tried pushing him, but she said between there and she don't know what else is that he tried to unbutton her jeans. And the only other thing she remembers is that she was on a table. That's all she remembers and nothing else.
And Laura, before you continue, because I don't want to give too much information out here, but the act was committed. Persons saw what was happening. They refused to render any assistance. The owner, all those persons who were there, the DJ and all of them, saw what was happening, and a person of indigenous descent being taken advantage. Instead of put a halt to it, put a stop into it, they allow it to happen. They allow it to get out of hand. What happened with the police when they reported to the police? What happened when you took her to the police station to take statement?
Yeah, it is really disappointing. So while I probably should not give out any other information or whatever, it is also so much in public already, So the onus is on us and everybody else who can support to make sure we are vigilant, continue to call for justice, insist on justice, insist on holding people accountable, insist on making sure that the police force, the police officers really work to not compromise this investigation. Now, here is my understanding. I am reliably informed because this took place Saturday night, the 12th of July. I am reliably informed that the commander was sent this video. I am not sure if it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but the commander, I am reliably informed, was sent this video. My question to the commander and all other officials is, did you all see this video? Was this video sent to you and what did you do about it?
Yes.
Or is it only because a lot of people were circulating it now and talking about it? Is it only then that some people started making noise? The ministers, probably the police or whoever was trying to get to this girl. So on Friday afternoon, understanding that this took place in Soesdijk and understanding the laws, we went up to Timiri police station to make a report. We were not even invited when I tried to explain to the police officer that we were here to lodge a statement and file a complaint by the young lady. He never asked us up front what the matter was, but that he doesn't know if we can lodge a statement there or where we should go. And I said, but so are you not going to allow us to come in? Can we not come inside to make sure that you can hear from us what this is about?
Yeah.
And he said, and he didn't allow us to come in. I mean, he wasn't blocking us, but there were other officers there, and he was, well, I'm telling you that I don't know what if they can deal with this. And he says, who's making the complaint? I said, you or her? I said, the young lady here. He said, there was a complaint about. So she says, well, it's in relation to a video that's viral now. He says, what video? So I turned to say that her being sexually assaulted. And so he says, well, he hadn't seen that video. I said, well, can we come to talk about it? He said, well, if she was sexually assaulted, that means I don't think we have officers here to tell her, to take statements from her. She would have to go to Diamond. So I said, why should she go to Diamond and not here? He said, well, that's what I'm telling you. I don't think we have officers who can take that. Diamond has the, what he says? The sex pool. I said, what do you mean a sex pool? He says, well, they have sex pool there. What else you want me to tell you? He wasn't good at all. So I said, so you're recommending that we go to Diamond? He said,
So
yes. I said, well, I have
George,
seen.
hold on, Laura.
I said,
You're saying to the public, you're saying to us that the police at Timeri, it's Timeri event, right? The
Friday
police
evening.
at the station there refused to take a statement of rape and telling you go to Diamond.
Yeah, they were telling us to go to Diamond. And as I said, he and other officer did not even say, well, come in, let's talk about, understand what it is better. There was nothing like that. So
Protection and serve.
while on our way up to Mary, I saw we already passed Diamond, the area, Diamond Grove, all those places we'd already passed. I saw in the press, well, on Facebook being shared, a statement from Home Affairs Ministry, I think, that anyone with information as to who this young lady is must come to Diamond or make a report. And anybody with information must come forward to the Diamond headquarters, I think, the division headquarters. But we were already up. So I also mentioned that to the police. I said, I also see, while we were coming up here, the Ministry of Home Affairs issued a statement that anybody with information or the young lady must report to Diamond. So I asked him, I said, is this why you're saying that we should go to Diamond then and not make a report here? He said, well, he said he hadn't seen the statement, but if that's what it says, then that's where we should go. I said, okay. So we left. We went across the road, and I called a police officer that I know, I think is a detective or a sergeant, because I wasn't satisfied that they refused to take a statement, which I know from the point of jurisdiction and a process, it must take place. I was very concerned that when I go to Diamond headquarters, they might tell me then I should come back to Timeri. Or they take a statement in Diamond, but somewhere along the way in the process of seeking justice, somebody says, well, the initial statement was never made in Timeri and the point on the area of where the act took place. I'm aware of so many cases going down the drain, being covered or being compromised, that many victims do not receive justice. And I wasn't going to let this happen, Andrew. I wasn't going to let this happen because first and foremost, I took this up as a mother. I'm a mother of 3 girls, 3 young women. And I would hate to know that my daughters would have been subjected to an act like this, and nobody would have had the decency nor the courage to rescue my child. And so my second reason for also knowing this was that I wasn't scared to take this on, that it didn't matter what people will say or who came in my path and tried to. I expected that intimidation, threats, coercion, and everything else that I am so much aware of have taken place and other victims will take place. And I was prepared to stand by this young woman.
Now,
And
you have raised a concern in terms of policy, in terms of how the police should act on these matters. Now we are seeing the government is asking and making statements. They're calling for persons to come forward. They're calling for they shut the bar down. We have put out a statement. The AFC have put out a statement, a press statement, and we're calling for that bar to be completely shut down. We have a former Minister of Home Affairs in the background in the program. We have also one of my co-hosts, Mr. Devin Sears, also in the background. Mr. Khamraj, you've heard this, you've seen this. As as police commissioner, former police commissioner, police making those kind of objection, those kind of subjections and statement, you know, trying to be apprehensive in taking a statement, sending you here, sending you there. What would you have done as commissioner of police? I mean, of minister of home affairs, in a matter like this, when it is reported to you that justice was not properly being served to this young lady?
Well, certainly there would have been an investigation as to that policeman who denied taking the statement and was conveniently bypassing the procedures. Once you go to a police station to make a report, especially of the grave offense of rape or sexual assault, there must be a statement taken at that nearest police station at that time by anybody, and also those who came there to support the victim.
Yeah.
And it is a no-go in relation to the policeman. As a matter of fact, he certainly, if he was a junior or policeman, would have been, in the interest of the public, sent home. He certainly, but there must be also an investigation done in relation to this matter that would have been, first of all, been asked of me if I was the minister. And look, we have gotten into being a very coarsened society. What is being said here shows that our public members in that bar that were drinking and who were there seeing and playing the music, allowing a crime to be done in flagranto delicto, meaning in the open public, and being caught, they catching the person, in a sense, doing the act and all of that.
Yes.
And so it has become what is called no compassion, no care, absolutely, from our members of the society. And it is telling us what our value system has become. And it has become that because the leadership, in a sense, a former minister went in and do all manner of things to an Amerindian girl, and then managed to get the authorities, the leaders, to place that matter under the earth, bury it. And what do you expect other people to do when they see ministers could do this thing? And that is what we have had from this PPP administration. There is absolutely no leadership that will lead to accountability in relation to crimes and criminalities and the corruption that we see all over. What it has done, instead, it has created copycats. So people are saying, hey man, if the minister could do it, I could do it too.
Exactly.
Nobody can tell me anything.
Yes.
The thing also has a capacity with the same Adriana incident and a kind of attributes similar to Adriana. You know, you go to a hotel, you go over there with your aunt, you go on and do your little whatever, playing in the pool, and next thing you're missing. Next thing, this girl is raped at Ragu's bar.
Yes.
And there's video and this and that, and nothing happens. It's a shame and disgrace in respect to our public security sector. Very much here. And of course, that is also the kind of thing that you'll have when there is leadership. Look at the police force. I have condemned this already.
Yeah.
The highest ranking officer collecting monies for a certain Brutus of some $8 million, it is alleged, and so on, for a marriage ceremony as gifts. What kind of police force we got when you got a commissioner doing that? I mean, the thing is shameless. And for the 5 years that we were there, we brought so much of the consultations from the British security sector reform, how to professionalize the police force, how they must not act as bullies, but as brothers to the community members that come in to make, and we were making strides. But all have collapsed in view of what certain leadership in the police force, leadership in the ministerial bodies have produced. And this is why we have this thing. I mean, it's the same thing that goes on. Only yesterday, minibus packed with passenger trying to undertake me, and you put a cuss on the driver, what the hell he doing? And by even them passengers start cussing me. I said, but is y'all lives in danger?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
they don't care. So we have a society that we have to start building again the compassion and the caring that is required, because it's whose lives will be damaged. It's all our lives when we allow criminality to happen just in front of us and we say nothing. Silence, as we have said, is the danger that we have forthcoming from this society.
Yeah,
And
it's horrific.
I believe that we have to make some changes and start talking to our family. We got to start talking. And look, I just want to make this additional point before Laura comes on. The machismo that we drill into our young men at the family level and sometimes even at the school level is what is causing these males to become such animalistic against our women folk. Yes. When we had done a study in relation to these same matters sometime early into my administration, and we were talking about it, that it happens at the family level. Don't let the woman take the eyes and pass you, and all kinds of inbuilt value system that tell the male, oh, if I got to take a gun and shoot you through the neck, sure, I'm going to shoot you through the neck. And that is what happened, I think. It's in Linden a couple of days ago.
Last night. Last night.
Last night, yeah. This thing is disastrous for us as a country. We are getting really violent. And the school system got to come into play. Our families, we got to inculcate in the family how to upbring these boys. Otherwise, they're going to be disasters as soon as they become adults.
And it's a loss of the rule of law in Guyana, you know? So, yeah, I think we didn't offer our sincerest condolences to the families of the young teacher who was murdered last night by her ex-partner. It's just horrendous. And if I may just continue a bit on what happened Friday night with the police, because, and I want to make reference a police statement that was issued, I guess very hurriedly, carried by the press, where they quoted a young lady as saying that she was drugged and raped by 3 men. That young lady never said that, because I was there. So what happened after we left the police? We walked back across the road, the public road on the East Bank, from Timeri Station, and I was very disturbed because I just didn't want to leave like that. So I made to see who I can look for, ask for intervention. A police officer said, you know what? No, you have to make a report there. Said, go back and I'll call them. Around that same time, the officers also received a call from their superior, their supervisor, and told them to take a statement from us. So that's how the young lady started giving a statement to one of the officers there. And up to the point where she said, that is all I remembered. And then he got a call again from a superior and said that this report will have to be made or have to be taken by a rank specialized in gender-based violence, the GBV. That rank wasn't present. So they have to go for the rank. We waited about 45 minutes to an hour because I asked, like, how far? When are they coming? When are they coming back? And they said that there's only 2 females that they have, and one lives over the river, and one is, I think, on either Purpur or somewhere there. When they return, though, and I'm pointing this out to also raise awareness on how limited our police force is in terms of human resources. And we know about the financial, their low pays and all of that. We're aware of that. But what happened was the rank was unable to come that night to take a statement because she couldn't leave her small children at home, like really tiny, small toddlers, because I was able to see them when we went back yesterday morning. And I understand as well that because the act took place, when the young woman was raped and drugged and raped, I would say. I don't know if I'm allowed to say those terms, but it took place Saturday night. And here we were at the police station Friday night. I understand that the mandatory period for taking tests, to take specimens and all of that had passed, or DNA samples and all of that had passed. And I said, you know what? Yes, I completely understand as a mother. I've been a mother where you have small children and all of that. And I communicated with the young woman and I said, we'll come back tomorrow to Diamond. And we agreed and we left. So to have the police issue a statement to say the young woman said that she was raped by 3 men, it's either the police is trying to cover themselves up or they were doing it intentionally, that the time when her statement will be eventually made and hopefully go to trial, that the police will say, but no, you made a statement that said there were three men. So I mean, all of these things play in my brain of the various ways in which the police force itself has been responsible for compromising and getting these cases shut. I wasn't prepared to do that. But anyways, so we went back Saturday. We went back yesterday morning to the Grove, to the Diamond Grove headquarters. The young lady was going to take a statement. The officer was there, and she had just started giving her statement when she also received calls that representatives from what I assume is relevant staff of the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Ministry of Human Services asked to be there so that they can also get their own reports while she was giving her statement, and we had to wait for them. So it was a long day yesterday. She eventually got a test kit, which they had to go to uplift from the Georgetown Public Hospital because there was none available at the Diamond Regional Hospital. And so they had to go with the young lady, go with her to the hospital. I went and meet her at the hospital. The also alarming incident that happened during the process of getting her statement and having it printed was we were informed that the officer had a statement on the computer. Then they said some technicalities happened. They couldn't get it saved onto a flash drive and to be printed so that she could have read it back and sign it. All of these things happened.
What?
So,
Oh, gosh. That's continue.
we eventually got to the hospital. They did their medical exams and whatever they needed to do. I wasn't present. She's an adult. And another female officer brought her statement to the hospital, which I found a little alarming because I thought that we were supposed to go back to the police headquarters, to the Diamond headquarters, where she can sit and read it through to make sure that it reflects what she had said, what she reported. And so the young lady hurriedly did a scan, and I think she said okay. But I was explaining, I was also like making some comments, and then the young lady says, "But that is not in my statement. I see some parts are missing." So we had to go. So we went back to the headquarters last night. The officer made the additions that were left out. I didn't see the statement because, as I said, and the young lady signed her statement. On Monday, she's asked to go back to the Diamond Regional Hospital to take other tests, blood tests and other tests that she has to run, STD tests, I think. So that's what she needs to do on Saturday. What happens next? I was told, because I've been asking, I was told that, the file would be sent to the DPP and all of that. And this is the part that I've also been horrified at, where one woman or one office holder makes a decision of whether this goes forward. So I'm also very concerned about all of these things. I asked, so I must also mention the horror I felt when I realized that the owner of the bar was also giving his statement in one of the rooms. I mean, but it's quite open. One of the rooms right there, while the young lady was giving her statement in another room. I really believe situations like this, cases like this, should make sure that the victim is always protected and is always not visible to people at all. Because when we came off first at the Grove, where what we say is a Grove station, I walked in with a young lady, and there were people in the waiting area out, to the front, and there were officers at the front door. And I'm saying, so I'm here to give a statement I'm here to meet. I gave the officer's name, and he said, "Oh, she wouldn't be here. She would be at the next. You have to walk down to the headquarters." But the comment that I assume is officer, the officer was, "Oh no, let's see, this is freezing."
Again, yeah.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're on, Laura. Continue.
oh, okay. Oh, so the comment that an officer, I assume she's an officer because she doesn't have an officer clothes, but she was very much active back and forth. That's why I assume she's an officer. A woman, the comment that she makes to all the other police officers is, "Oh, this the girl." And I'm horrified at the insensitivity, the lack of this professionalism. I'm disappointed and I'm horrified. And if I could have told her something, but I didn't want to lend any more attention because, as I said, there were people in the waiting area. So I didn't want to lend any more attention by calling her out on her action. Our police officers need to be a lot more sensitive and a lot more trained in all of these things. Because I have tried very hard to make sure that the girl's identity is unknown. I see there were some comments on Facebook, on social media, or they think they heard that she's from this region or whichever region. It doesn't matter which region she is from. All of us need to be calling to make sure that justice is served. All of us need to protect her identity. And for persons who are calling for the video to be shared and the video to be shared, the only reason that I have called I asked for the video was to make sure that I can lend support and whatever support that we can give to her, that we can give and make sure that justice is served. So for people who want to calling for this video to be shared to them, what is the purpose that you want this video to be shared to you? And what is the purpose that you want to know her identity? A woman has gone through the most horrific experience of her life. Even if she can't remember, she has seen the video since, and they are all horrified.
Well, I don't know how, and I trust that this young woman get all the counseling that she needs and get all the help that she needs. I know the APA put out a statement. I think I saw some other statements coming out. I want all indigenous groups and organizations and all of them to come out and condemn this and condemn the lack of sensitivity and the lack of urgency by the police and other persons who are involved in this whole thing. They must be brought to book on this matter, because it might not be a woman of indigenous descent the next time around. It might be your family, your cousin, your niece, your sister, and they will have to go through that same agonizing and depressing statement and all those different things that young lady went through. They will have to go through because the system is broken. The system is broken. Different Sears, I know that you're in the background. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, you had another incident as well in Linden where a young woman, a nursery school teacher, was shot by a young man who, same thing again, domestic violence, Devin. Devin, are you there? Well, I'm not hearing him, not seeing him. Devin Sears, are you there? All right. All right. So, look, Mr. Khamraj, I know this is going to be in the press for days about this matter. All right. The insensitivity of the government who always put up this thing that they have everything under control. They're building police stations. They're dismantling police, because I heard of a matter where they dismantle a police station, the wrong building, a whole police station, a lot of money, taxpayers' money being done, dismantle it because it was the wrong building. And now they don't have the resources, the people to put in those buildings to deal with the matter like such. We are having a serious problem in this country of systems that are not functioning, and the citizens, taxpayers' money is being paid to ensure that they are protected and they got the justice that they need, all falling apart under this government. What would be your advice to people who going through who may be going through matters like this, or matters that may would have arisen, or maybe come to the same police stations across the country? What help do you think that they will get from police stations who have to wait long hours for somebody from the domestic violence victims unit to come and make a statement? The police can't make a statement. They gotta call somebody from somewhere. The person is not there. They're home. They're out of town, out of the village. They gotta come back tomorrow. The trauma that these victims will have to go through because the police can't get it right.
We had done a number of things to ensure that these kinds of insensitivities do not occur at a police station. At all times, especially because you get more police at the coast and on the banks of the rivers and so on, that there will have to be at least a woman police at the police station. And that is one of the protocols in relation to whenever any sexual offenses like this should have been reported, that you can have a woman policeman there. And even if she might not be there because she's gone to investigate some other incident, at least bring her in shortly, or even if she's at home, ensure that she comes within a half an hour or an hour. Because that is how the police inline schema is. You have to be there, and or make sure that emergency reasons provide that she comes by a taxi or something to deal with that kind of situation. But I'm appalled at what Laura has just mentioned, and I hope that Laura will write out a statement and will send it to the Police Complaints Authority. I now know that Mr. William Ramlal, who is the Police Complaints Authority chairman, has died. They haven't done any appointment and another appointment yet, but whatever it is, there are staff members there who can now investigate what the police did here and what the police omitted to do. And that is the institution that we had created for purposes of complaining against the police force and members of the police force. So that is one way. The other thing has to do with the larger societal level. When members of the public see criminality, they have an obligation to come forward and in the police station give a statement that I actually saw when this thing happened. I was there and I thought it was outrageous. We were all having a drink and this and that, but that is no reason why this must be done onto a girl child, or a woman, an indigenous person at that, whatever it is, and so on. Because it could happen to your daughter.
Yes.
And you would want the person who would have witnessed the incident to come forward to testify. So that the criminals in our society are not the insensitivity and unprofessionalism of the police force to dominate this incident, and then the thing dies like what happened with that other Amerindian girl and a former minister. You know, this is happening all too regularly all across the country that I go to. If it is not rape or whatever it is some other criminality that has occurred and the police just passing a blind eye. We had done a lot in relation to making sure that what was the British security sector reform the
Yes.
professionalizing of the police force via getting better recruits. At least they must have 5 or 6 subjects to get into the cadet officership. They must have an understanding of maths, English, and whatever the subject areas that they have to pass this test at the academy and so on. And during the course of the academy, ensuring that they are of good behavior, and the policemen who are supervising the program also see to it that they are men of character or women of character and so on. But all have just gone through, and this is what you'll have. And as I mentioned, leadership at that leadership level, you constantly have to have training of especially these special units, the sexual offenders unit or the sexual offenses unit. We passed a big law some 10 years ago. I think Priya Manachan was the minister, Sexual Offences Act. And a whole set of privacy matters are in there. Sensitivities by the police in relation to how the statements are taken and all of that settled in there. Yet we have today the police, like they're not being trained about it or being reminded about it. And you can have, as George has just mentioned, Laura George has just mentioned, the police, poking their eyes at the girl and say, oh, is this the girl? And it affects the composure when giving the statement of the victim. It victimizes the victim further when the police force is supposed to hold you and embrace and care and show compassion to bring out all the evidence against whosoever or whatever is the incident about in detailed fashion. So it is a reprehensible what I'm hearing here, and it is obviously not good. But as I have said, over the last 5 years, all the developments that have been made, having good people in the leadership of the police force, the whole thing has been disorganized and reconfigured to having a set of people who have no character to be leaders of the police force. That is what we have now. And the whole police force is being tarnished and tainted as a result. And this is but just an example of what is happening on the ground.
Laura, before we come off of this, you have any final words you want to say on this matter before we come off of this statement? Because I want you to stick around, because we want to go into some politics, and I want you to stick around about to deal with that, to join us with that as well. Any final words that you want to say before we go on this matter?
All right, I want to say to all Guyanese, indigenous and non-indigenous peoples, especially non-indigenous peoples, that indigenous peoples in Guyana continue to face the most degrading acts and languages towards us. We're the most marginalized, victimized peoples in Guyana. And it gives us this appearance, and I'm saying this as an indigenous woman, having lived through the experiences and the taunts or the smirks that, it's like we're never good enough. It doesn't matter what. And I'm not going to say the term to lend to the further degradation of indigenous peoples. Women in society have a challenge to be recognized, to be respected effectively, just as any other, like any other citizen in Guyana. It's worse for indigenous women. Women in Guyana have to constantly struggle to be heard. For an indigenous woman, for an indigenous young woman growing up in Guyana, it is even more challenging. And we have to make sure we all have a role to play as citizens of Guyana, that we protect our girls. We support each other as women, whether indigenous women or not. We have to stand by to make sure that the men in society and people in decision-making powers are held accountable. And they can only be held accountable if all of us stand together to make sure that systems work. The system is broken. That I don't know who to trust. That we don't know who to trust, which system, which office to trust. Guyana is a small place, and everybody seems to be known to each other. We don't want, and we're in a society where everyone is known to each other. We should all be holding each other accountable because this is our home. How are we supposed to be living with each other? This whole perception that indigenous peoples are of inferior group. This we have to change this mentality in Guyana. We are humans, and this is my cry after seeing that video. It just manifests all over the treatment and the perception that we are given to by non-indigenous peoples, and it has to change. And I want indigenous peoples to know that there are people here who will stand by you. And I want us to always say, and I've said this so many times to the leaders throughout Guyana, is we have to protect our girls. We have to protect our children. Because if we don't protect our children, who else do you think is going to do it for us? What I would like to see is the owner of that bar being held accountable. Everybody else in there who are held accountable. Mr. Ramjattan, thank you for your guidance where you say we should file a complaint. We will look to do that. And we will also be looking to take other actions because this has to stop. We will continue to stand by the young lady and her family, and we will make sure that justice is served. We're not going to give up. I am not going to give up.
Exactly. And
thank you to all the support. I just want to say, probably I should say, thank you very much to all the support, maybe one more thing is where we say, Laura is this and she's, always there. It's okay. I appreciate that. But what I would really like to see is that more of us, more women, more men, whether indigenous or not, stand up for justice. Stand up for justice. We cannot afford to have a country descending into chaos where there's no rule of law and no respect for human life. That's all, Andrew. Thank you.
thank you, Laura. And our prayers go out to the family and the victim that she will get all the counseling and all the help that she needs to recover from this very traumatic and embarrassing situation by her fellow Guyanese and also from our government who's supposed to be coming down hard on persons who committed these kind of acts. Our prayers goes out to them. We're going to take a short break and we're going to come back. And when we come back, we're going to take 25 minutes to deal with some politics because we're in election season and oh my gosh, a lot of things are happening that you need to know about. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Nigel for president, hear the call. With the FC we stand tall. Better must come, better must speak. Time for real change, time to be free. Nigel for president, hear the call.
We're saying that this system that we offering, that we issue $1 million grant to set up a small micro-sized business, that it will be beneficial for our women folk, especially those that are single parent. And this is one thing that we will do in the 100 days.
Nigel for president, hear the call. With the FC we stand tall. Better must come, better must speak. Time for real change, time to be free. Nigel for president, hear the call. With the AFC we stand tall.
Taking us to one of the AFC's goals, which is to establish a financial institution for the bank for women.
Guyanese people, now is the time. Vote for a party with a name. Vote for a party with a real design. Youth empowered housing for all. Education strong, we're standing tall. Healthcare better, constitution new. you. Vote AFC, we breaking through with Nigel Hughes our leader. True, better must come. Vote AFC, Nigel Hughes for president. The change Guyana needs. Woo! Better must come. Vote AFC, Nigel Hughes for president. The change Guyana needs.
Alright, tell them. Well, it's time for a change and we need it today. Nigel at the front and leading the way. This is the year that better must come with the AFC. We go win hands down. Real money start thief when the eyes start drill. Corruption the inside the cup still. Guyana need change and a man with the will. The choice is clear, it's the man Nigel. Two power ship and enough blackout still. Cost of living so high and you can't pay bill. You feel them is for you, don't just swallow that pill. Vote a man for the people, the man Nigel. Put up your hand if you love Nigel. Better must come with the man Nigel. A man with the plan, a man with the skill. A man for the people, the man Nigel. Check this, too much thieving and plenty slackness. You talk for your rights and you get blacklist. They only act like the characters and actress. Choose a clean background and stay less practice. Put up your hand if you love Nigel, you. Better must come BFC and Nigel, you. Respected, educated, the man with the skill. The man for the people, the man Nigel. Nigel Hughes, a man with integrity. Nigel, look out for everybody. Nigel, not just friends and family. Better must come with the AFC.
Yes, with the AFC, we are standing strong. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. We want to thank you for being a part of the first half of our program. We have a little extended today because I deal with a matter that is very, very serious and pertaining to the social side of things. And now we're coming to the political side of things. Khamraj, we are in an election season, and
Andrew,
a lot of things.
we're not hearing you.
You're not
Andrew,
hearing
we're
me?
not hearing you.
I'm hearing you. You hear me? I don't know what's happening there. Let me see. You hear me, Laura? Anybody hearing me? I hope so. Let me see. Stay with us, guys. What's going on here? Khamraj, you hearing me? You hear me, Khamraj?
I
I'm
don't know
hearing
if
you.
mute yourself or something. Yeah.
You hear me? Khamraj?
Yes, we are hearing you now. Are you hearing us?
I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you.
Good. Okay.
I'm hearing you loud and clear. Khamraj, we're in election season. A number of things are now coming to the fore. We see recently the GCOM chair in an interview with News Source and the Barara Wave. She came out and said that we got to overhaul GCOM. You know what I mean? We got to get rid of GCOM. I mean, the commission itself. We got to overhaul the commission. We got to get rid of this casting vote system. Where was she all the time? What happened to the recommendations that were made by all those observers in 2020 to put GCOM and put the commission in its rightful place? And in the heart of an election season, you're going to come and tell the citizens now that you don't believe that GCOM needs to be overhauled, that the secretariat needs to be overhauled because you perceive to be voting one side all the time, and you blame it on what? The Constitution? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I must say better late than never,
Okay.
because I had thought that it was going to be never.
Okay.
But at least it came, and it came late. And of course, now we are in no position to implement the biometrics and all the grounds that will happen for what I regard as imposters that will come to vote. And the people who are going to do that, we know they got ID cards for so many other people and so on, and they're going to utilize this opportunity, especially in their strongholds. That is the PPP, especially in their strongholds. Of course, they will say that, but y'all got scrutineers. Y'all could have, well, we will try as best to put up our scrutineers. But there are so many of the issues at that ballot station on the election day itself. When people come up there and they say that their names are on the list there, and they produce their ID and so on, and it's fake. So it is important that we do have our scrutineers, but the biometric would have caused that to be almost negligible, the impostoring. Okay? But of course, we don't have it now. And at least I'm glad that she has made mention of it. So many things that were done by the European Union Observer Report, the Carter Center, which is here, their observer report, and the talking about the list itself, because the list is probably bigger than Guyana population now. And so the potential for multiple voting by people is going to be tremendous, especially those that have managed to get from the administration their ID cards of other people who are overseas, and so they could vote for them and so on.
I mean,
that aside, they got lots of other issues that we have to talk about when it comes to, and it has to do with how the spendings that are occurring now are happening. All over the place now. This morning in front of Del Street here, you had about 40 young men come with 2 trucks, and they're cleaning up the drain and so on.
Yeah, even in front of my scheme here, they're cleaning the drains. They're in the gutter.
Well, it's all an elections gimmick, and but Guyanese
on my playground here, everything happening now.
Everything happening, and that is what they feel, that Guyanese are such idiots that they could do this, and of course they will win the elections.
No way.
But let me say this: Guyanese have understood, because of what the work the Alliance for Change and other opposition parties have been doing in connection with educating them as to how the monies are being spent. Look, I got, for this program, I said, let me go and check out in 2023 all the contracts that they borrow money from, the IDB,
oh Lord,
the Saudi Fund, the Islamic Bank, and the Chinese Exim Bank, and so on. And for 2023 alone is $717 billion.
What?
$270 million they borrowed. They borrow even more last year and all of that. In addition to the oil monies that they got, and still Guyanese, especially in their support base, can't have 3 square meals. And that is why they're very, very threatened right now. And they're worried and troubled. Jagdeo could go on the Thursday press conference and talk his crap, but he knows to his heart that his base, especially in the sugar estate areas, they are now flaking off, largely to, I understand, Azruddin has been becoming very popular there, and also within the indigenous areas where they had strong support, that is the PPP, they're flaking off completely, especially in the context of so much raping of Amerindian girls and the girl children of the Amerindian community by former minister and all kind of thing. So it is important that we too understand that the invincibility of the PPP is not there anymore.
Yes. They're running scared.
Yeah, they're running scared. And we have to understand too that although they're vulnerable, we have to let reason prevail these elections.
Yes.
Do not go and vote for the PPP. If you feel that you're undecided, stay home. And it will be unconscionable, and I'm talking to my East Indian brothers right now. It is unconscionable for what has happened with the last 5 years. In 2023, $717 billion you borrow, plus you get billions of US dollars in the oil natural resource fund, and you use up almost all, and still people punishing in this country. Still, when you go to the police station, they're so insensitive and unprofessional. Still, when you go for board certificate, you got to pay some bribe somewhere. All over the place, it is so corrupt. And then, knowing the corruption at the highest level, the people who dealing with the susus and who then get caught susuing in the pans. This is important. Guyanese must not allow this government to be there for another term. Not at least the 2025 term.
Yep.
It is fundamental that Guyanese understand that. We have gotten all this money. We have spent so much on infrastructural works. $666 billion last year. $666 billion.
$666 billion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. It was $1 trillion budget, wasn't it? $1 trillion budget. And more. What have we seen but infrastructure that is substandard? You gotta go build it back. The roadsides, you have been doing tremendous work. Other people in the social media have been doing tremendous work. The bridges are collapsing. The roadsides are collapsing, even at Heroes Highway and all of that. What the hell is going on here? And so it is important that we understand that there is corruption behind this. The people who are granting the contracts, the government of the day, they get a cutback. Even contractors are now talking about it. The big cutback that they got to pay them, the kickback, before they can get. And I've always said this, contracts, whether for building infrastructure or doing social services, this government is an epicenter of corruption, this government. And the Americans have been catching up with them. The Americans now got a lot of them under investigation, May Thomas and may know who and who else and whatever. So it is fundamental that we bring an end to this at these elections. And I am pleading with people, don't vote emotions, vote reason. The PPP failed on their promises at all levels, including the renegotiation of the contract in relation to oil and gas.
And not only that, Mr. Khamraj, they are running also in the agricultural sector, trying to fool up the farmers and fool up the rice farmers.
That is a big issue with the rice farmers that I have. The rice farmers obviously do not understand that this government does not have a plan or a policy in relation to how to help them. It is important that we incentivize farmers to do farming, and not farming at a monoculture like rice alone or sugar alone. We have to take the lands from sugar and do other things that we had indicated in our alternative livelihoods program. Because 4 times amount of profits, once you give them an incentive to go into the 4 Ps, pepper, pumpkins, and prawns, and a number of other things, so that the people can get what you call educated as to how they do these things. Because if you just pour money into sugar, it is not going to go anywhere. It is backbreaking work, as I have said. The younger people do not want to go into it. The labor supply is not there to cut the cane. The terrain is not useful for mechanization. So that's misspending money massively. It's a black hole. And so we have to make sure that that $40 billion, more or less, is diversified or goes into other arrangements for a diverse economy. And the diverse economy is going to bring food security to Guyana.
Exactly.
We can plant whatever else in smaller farms, 15-acre plots, give it to the workers, as we did in the Wales arrangement, and so that they can have what is called planting crops that is going to look after the needs of the people. You understand? And inland fishing or inland prawns, grazing grounds, digging the ponds and all of that. And the government must use the $40 million to do that kind of thing.
Exactly.
and so on. But no, they want to go because they like the cane cutter. They get the dominant union in Gao who can tell the cane cutters all kind of madness. But they are learning because they themselves are the brunt of attacks from the government. Remember
Yeah.
the 21 cane cutters at
Yes.
Kanji that were beaten up and so on, and then they
Mm-hmm.
charge all of them. They had to
Mm-hmm.
go defend them, and thank God the magistrate saw the justice of it and made them and acquitted them. But
That's
that
how.
is what is happening.
That is how they love the rice farmers and the cane cutters. That's the love they got for them. But I want you to know, I want the viewers to know as well that the AFC has a fantastic manifesto in place to deal with. I've heard it and I've seen parts of the plan and so on. This manifesto on the agricultural sector will blow your mind away. It will blow your minds away. Trust me. I ain't seen no other political party with that kind of plan and manifesto for farmers in this country, for agriculture in this country. I've never seen it. Beautiful plan. It's gonna come out. It's gonna come out soon. Laura, if you're still there, I know you were one of the agents there, running up and down GCOM to deal with our lists and the list is not ready. And back in the day, we used to have maximum number and minimum number, and GCOM changed the whole thing up and tell you gotta get this amount of numbers to get on the list for your candidates and so on. The list is good, but we have seen PPP ministers and supporters running into Amerindian villages and trying to say, oh, we can provide this for you, and we can provide that for you. Where were they all the time? What are you hearing on the ground?
Well, what we hear on the ground, so I must first say thank you to all of Guyana who stood by to support us and say yes and understand the process of what it means to be a nominator and becoming candidates. And so lending that support, we learned on the ground that though we have supporters, some had signed on as nominators without fully understanding why they were signing as nominators and what it means. Nevertheless, they have voiced their support and they will continue to lend support even if
Yes.
they have on different color jerseys or where they might be seen. The most important part is when September 1st comes, they know that
it's
the
to
choice,
vote
the
the
right
PPP
choice
out of
to
office.
make is
Yes.
to make it for the Alliance for Change and Nigel Hughes as a presidential candidate.
Yes.
In the communities, there is this further division, which we know happens, during elections time. What we have is this party or that party support as within the families and the communities. What I want to say to indigenous peoples in the communities is be vigilant. You know what has happened and what has not happened in the last 5 years or the years before. The promises upon promises that has been made, that even if you have seen a few millions of dollars, take into account that there is so much more that you are worth. That there is so much more and so much better that you should be having, so much more respect, our life of dignity that we still don't have up to today, that the salaries are such a pittance compared to the cost of living.
Yeah.
The transportation cost is so high. Our health sector, our health services, we still cannot get it. And I will say this, I have not shared that photograph. But when I was coming back from Region 8, there was an elderly woman being transported along with the other passengers that were coming out. The elderly woman who suffered a fracture to her leg. She was being transported. She needed to use a washroom, and she had to wait like other passengers because, our own internal transit system. And when I saw her, I was horrified. This patient with her fractured leg or foot has literally cardboard boxes cut out as braces on her leg, because there are no other braces in the health center. So the government, the PPP has been boasting about smart hospitals and the, what is it, the telemedicine. That woman couldn't be medevaced with urgency because she's an indigenous woman, she's coming from the community. Why may anybody want to spend those millions of dollars, I guess, that the PPP cannot spend? That elderly woman had to be transported in a system where she had to sit and try to, and someone, a relative, I think her daughter-in-law, trying to hold her leg. I lent some assistance when she wanted to use a washroom. And us as women had to help her, wheel her on a wheelchair, and try to get her onto the toilet bowl so she can use a toilet. We were all doing it because as women, as I said, and I was there, and I couldn't be not doing anything to lend assistance, right? But I was horrified that in this time, in all of this money that Guyana, that the PPP says that we're getting, and we know how much millions and billions of dollars we're getting from oil and gas, and yet it cannot go to the communities.
Wow.
It so turned out that the young woman that I have been assisting, the aunt, she's actually also the aunt's aunt or some relative of theirs. So when I show them the photograph that I have, that I took of the woman, they confirm that it's her, right? In saying all of this, so I was in Kaibarupai, a village in Region 8. I took a photograph of the bridge, you know, that's coming across, being heralded as a latest model of bridges in Guyana. I took a photograph of it. You know why? Because I was in Kaibarupai and I was shown structures of what's supposed to be a bridge, you know, to be laid over as a bridge. It's there since 2022. It's concrete poles, 3 pairs, one in the end, one in the middle, to cross over. A much needed structure that should have been there as priority so that children can get to school and back to their homes. The children have to cross in a little boat. When the river is high, we can understand that it's more risky for children. Small children, it's a primary school, they have to cross to. My point in saying all of this is that indigenous peoples and hinterland communities continue to be treated with inequality by the PPP. And indigenous peoples, I'm saying this to you, we deserve better in the communities. We have a right to be treated just as better or equally. I'm not sure, because the treatment that we get as all citizens in Guyana is not good enough at all.
Yeah.
So it gives me a little reservation to say non-indigenous people deserve to be treated with the same as all Guyanese, because all Guyanese is not still getting it, right? It's still not getting it.
But they want your vote. But they want your vote.
And they want to vote. And I have seen the political statements of the PPP, or the AFC was there before. But what I want to say, the AFC was in a coalition, but this time in 2025, indigenous peoples, Nigel Hughes is the presidential candidate. At no time has he ever been a presidential candidate. At no time has he ever been in government as a president or as a minister or anything there. So what I'm saying is that Nigel Hughes, again, and I've said this so many times, even before I came here, I've spoken about the support that Nigel Hughes has given to many communities, individuals, without looking for payment.
Give the man a chance. Give the man a chance. Vote for Nigel Hughes.
The commitment that I know that we're making, and as you rightly said, in the agriculture sector and all of these manifestos and plans that we have, that agriculture policy that we have is revolutionary. to non-Indigenous peoples, what I'm saying here, when it comes to how much deception the PPP have fed to Guyanese, especially because they know they cannot read and write properly, they're not understanding. But now we have social media. We are seeing with our own eyes what really the PPP has reduced us to. Reduced us to meaning that they expect us to believe that there is no corruption, that there is no injustice, and that they are actually doing the best or making the best decisions for us. They have not. There is rampant corruption, that poor state of infrastructure, substandard work, and the injustice. Nothing, we cannot trust the system today. And like when we say that the police appear so empowered to make sure that, justice is not served, it is because they know nobody holds them accountable. The highest offices of the land are so heavily compromised that nobody respects them because everybody knows something. We cannot, we have descended into a state where everybody doing what they want. There has to be a rule of law. There has to be good governance in our country because as Guyanese, we deserve the best. We deserve the better. We deserve to have a lot more.
Because we have gas, we're not getting what we want. Khamraj, before we go, I know if there's anything else you want to bring to the fore before we go, now is the chance to do it. Before we go.
Weeks, our economy is what I am very vexed about. When you have all that set of monies and 717 million US dollars you borrow in 2023, you borrow about that in 2024 or even more, and so on. And with the billions coming in with the oil, we can't do better. Look, man, better must come because the money is tremendously hundredfold than against what we had in the APNU AFC government. And we managed better. A lot of people are telling us today that the cost of living was far superior to what it is now. It is high now. You go into the market, you can't buy couple bygone. People ain't got money for the borrow, there, this, there, everything there. Meat, fish, everything. It is almost as 5 times more than in 2015 when we got into government. And the monies that they have now have not grown 5 times. But in addition to the economics of the situation, where we can do far better by a social distribution that is superior to what the PPP is doing, although they're talking that, we can't go and spend so wildly like what the AFC is talking about. What is wild about giving money to the poor people, the working class, the pensioners, the cash transfers that we have spoken about? It is indeed there where we got to put our money, spend more on human resource development rather than buildings. Buildings are necessary, but it must be balanced. You don't spend $666 billion on infrastructure works and then almost next to nothing on human capital development. No, it got to be. But of course, infrastructure works got 30% kickback. And that is what the PPP get plenty money from. And all of them fancy talk about how they care for the people and so on. They care nothing for nobody. So I am urging people, but moreover, the politics of it too, at a parliamentary level, we hardly had parliament during the course of the 5 years. I mean, when you ask questions, you're not getting them answered. Some people are so arrogant as to tell you off that I am not going to answer that. You ask the Commissioner of Information certain questions, which he is statutorily obliged to get answers for. That is why we created the Commissioner of Information. That institution has collapsed. We've got to file a litigation against him and all of that. when you go and ask for a motion to be put forward as urgent and of public importance, you get
No
the
motion.
situation that it is not. No motion can be brought up because it is not urgent, it is not of public importance, or some such other rationale from the Speaker of the House.
Yep.
And so Parliament then, which is the premier institution of the land, has not been functioning. And of course, so many of the other institutions at an executive level, the police force, and so on. And so it is important then that there be a fundamental change. All these things were developing pretty nicely during the course of the 2015-2020 era, but all collapsed. And today, with all the monies, 100-fold times I'm talking about there, from the borrowings and also the oil money, and still we are worse off. That is what has gotten the Guyanese public very angry, and what is going to cause the PPP to lose the next elections. Those are my final thoughts.
And not only that too, Mr. Ramjattan, we're going to be having an interesting parliament. It's going to be the 13th parliament, would it be called?
I think the 29th, the 12th, oh, you mean with the next parliament?
Yes.
The next session of parliament, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, well, it might very well be a very
interesting parliament.
Used parliament.
It's going to be, I see, oh my gosh, this parliament to come is going to be a very interesting parliament, because who knows?
Yes, it is. It is.
We might have a new government. We might have a minority government. We might have a different speaker altogether.
The dynamics will be completely changed, in my opinion.
Yes. Oh yes, it's going to be very different. Now, thank you so much. I don't know, Laura. I don't know. I'm not sure if Laura has any final thing to say. Laura, before we go, do you have any final words you wanna jump in with and say to before we go?
Yes, I want to say that I'm very concerned at the level of violence meted out against our women and girls, our children. I'm very concerned that that many of us cannot trust the system, because for so many years we have seen how it has not served to ensure that we are protected and that justice is served. I'm calling on all women, especially in the case of the young lady, the indigenous young woman, to stop sharing those videos. And stop judging her, and stop making comments such as, oh, she seemed to be enjoying it, and she should not have gone there. Because what I want to say to you is, no matter where we are in our country, it must be a safe place. If they were there in a nightclub, it was a place where they were paying for service. They didn't go there to beg for anything. So it means that we have to hold everybody accountable and make sure that they all go through the whole process for justice to be served. And it means that all Guyana has to stand by again. I am terribly sorry to learn, I'm horrified that a young mother was shot by her ex-partner. There are so many cases of this. And we hear oftentimes of how some statements got lost, or they have us on a back and forth. And we have Kenisha Vaughn, the case of Kenisha Vaughn still to be heard. It's horrifying. What are we doing to our women? What are we doing to our girls? What are we doing to our children, to the future of Guyana? As adults today, we all need to make sure that everybody is held accountable. Because you know why? Because it doesn't matter whether if it's this girl. Tomorrow it could be your child. And I think Mr. Ramjattan said that earlier. It could be your daughter tomorrow. It could be your son tomorrow.
Yes.
Right? So we need to be really a lot more humane, because I don't know where we've gone. We've lost. It's like we've lost ourselves. I'm very much upset about what has happened. What I would like to know is that that place is never opened back. It's completely shut down. There's license revoked. Because if they could not provide security and safety for its patrons, then it doesn't deserve to be open. What I would like to see is that the police officers also really make sure that this investigation is not compromised, that we can go forward with this matter. And what I would like all Guyana to know is that, you know what, we deserve better.
Yeah.
When September 1 comes, vote out the PPP. And I would say, don't vote anybody else, vote Nigel Hughes the president, because we have worked so hard over the years. People say we don't have experience. People say Nigel Hughes has no experience, no political experience. I don't know what political experience means, but what I do know is that we have worked over the years to make sure that justice is served wherever we can lend support. We have been there all along. That is what is experienced in the case of human rights and fighting for equal rights and rights protections for all citizens of Guyana. We have been there along with many other supporters because we can never do this alone. Eh? I say that all the time.
Yeah.
To say we have to continue looking out for each other.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Laura. Thank you very much, Khamraj, for being on our extended version of the countdown this morning. And we're going to see each other again because we have a lot of more opportunities to have a lot of conversation on matters that will be coming up on the floor during the course of these elections. We have campaign launch to come up. We have they're asking for prime ministerial candidates. Well, you're going to see that. Our launch is coming up. Stay tuned for that. And stay tuned weekdays for our AFC Elections Watch, which will be bringing to you more updates on what's happening in the AFC camp and what's happening within the electoral process in the country and how you can be able to vote and what you need to do to vote for the AFC. That's our program this morning. And it is 11:44. We want to thank all of you for being a part of our program. And we're going to see you right back here again for another edition of the Countdown. Thank you for joining us. And a great afternoon to all of you except the PPP. Yes, I said it. Except the PPP.
AFC! Better must come! 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 AFC!
Now is the time. Vote for a party with a vote for a party with a real design. Youth and powered housing for all. Education strong, we're standing tall. Healthcare better, constitution new. All your wealth coming right back to you. Vote AFC, we're breaking through with Nigel Hughes our leader. True, better must come. Vote AFC, Nigel Hughes for president. The change Guyana needs. Better must come. Vote AFC, Nigel Hughes for president. The change Guyana needs.
Taking us to one of the AFC's goals, which is to establish a financial institution for the bank for women.
For a change and we need it today. Nigeria at the front and leading the way. This is the year that better must come with the AFC. We go win hands down. Real money start when the eyes start drill. Corruption that inside the cup still. Guyana need change and a man with True powership and love blackout still. And still living so high and you can't be a bill. You think them is for you, don't you swallow that pill. Vote a man for the people, the man Nigel. Put up your hand if you love Nigel. Better must come with the man Nigel. A man with the plan, a man with the skill. A man for the people, the man Nigel. Check this, too much thief and plenty slackness. You talk for your rights and you get blacklist. You only act like the characters and actress. Choose a clean background and stay less practice. Put up your hand if you love Nigel, you. Better must come BFC and Nigel, you. Respected, educated, the man with the skill. The man for the people, the man Nigel. Nigel use a man with integrity. Nigel. Look out for everybody. Nigel. Not just friends and family. Better must come with the